in terms of technology and high tech. Everything we are doing today is high tech. When we're talking about agriculture, this is high tech. When we're talking about water purification, this is high tech. When we're talking about IT, of course, this is high tech. When we're talking about medicine, this is high tech. Transportation, this is high tech. Everything we are doing today, everything we are dealing today is high tech. And the question is, what are the reasons that made Israel a success in this context? There are many reasons. I'm not going to go one by one, but I would like to mention three of them which I think are relevant. First is the human capital. Israel, a society of immigrants, is a society which invests in education. Like many societies who are based on immigration, people understand that the future of their children is related to the quality of education they are going to receive. And in this regard, Israel as a state and also as a society invested a lot in education, something, or the fruits of that, we can see today. The second reason is the experience in the army. I don't know if you know, but in Israel, for a man and a woman, at the age of 18, it's obligatory to go to the army. Now, when you think about the army, usually you think about discipline. You don't think about innovation, you don't think about creativity. But when you are thinking about a 20 years old guy or 20 years old woman who are in the army, who are commanding on a group of 20 or 30 people, this means that they are managing a group of people. This means that they need these skills that they can use later on in the private sector in order to make things happen. And the experience that our teenagers or our young people are receiving in the army is something that really contributes a lot to the quality of the people who are entering later on to the marketplace. First. Second, many people are saying, okay, but they are starting their college, they're starting going to the college at the age of 21, 22, sometimes 23, it's true, but at the same time, the experience they got during the military service is something that will serve them for the future as well. And the third element which I want to emphasize is the ecosystem in Israel, or the ecosystem of technology in Israel. It's true the government did a lot in order to facilitate and in order to help startups by building incubators, by giving funds, etc., but there is something else which, according to my judgment, helped a lot. And this is the size of Israel. The fact that we are a small country, the fact that we are a small society helps. If someone has a good idea, if someone has a good startup, and he walks in the streets of Tel Aviv, he can meet different CEOs who are sitting in the coffee shops, talking with their friends, or walking in the streets of Tel Aviv, and he can talk to them. And the fact that the Israeli society is a small society, in this case, really helps to build an ecosystem for technology that will make it more accessible for young entrepreneurs or people who are building their first startups. The startup community in Israel contributes 15% to Israel's GDP. 15%. The number of startups in Israel is higher than the number of all member states in Europe together. And when we are talking about Israel, another thing that can identify Israel today when it comes to high tech is the fact that Israel has become a supermarket for technologies. Different companies who are facing different challenges are coming to Israel, to Israeli companies, to ask them for a solution.